Good evening, or more appropriately, good night. The time is 22:22, and today's live is gonna be more on the spiritual side. So yes, you know that I focus on relationships, but I am also a spiritual coach. And what does this mean? It means that I help people who are on a journey to open up to consciousness more and more. And I support this process. And it involves basically, it's not about, like people talk a lot about enlightenment and stuff like that. What it is really, it's about returning to our natural selves. That's it. So someone is live actually, so thank you for joining so late. And yes, I apologize for being late, but I was rushing from one thing to another today at work, and in the afternoon I really felt like taking my son to the beach, and it was amazing, the shift I've experienced, and this ties also with what we're gonna cover today. Last time we went to the beach, I was feeling still some old anxiety. So again, back to the spiritual path. What is it about? It's returning to our natural selves. So it's not about becoming someone else. It's just returning home to yourself. So the more we do the work, the more you have this feeling of coming home. So what we are doing, I'm sure you heard this term, we're just releasing the programming. So we are removing who we thought we were, the conditionings, which we picked up from our caregivers, from society, from school. So all we're doing really, we're just dropping all that programming and leaving what is left. Now, leaving what is left can be scary not because we are not longing for who we really are, but because we've been with this programming so long that it takes time to release, and it takes time to settle back into our natural selves. This is why nobody ever made it in a day, or like I used to when I started my journey in 2014. I used to see these programs where they would tell you that you can get rid of your anxiety in a day or a week or a month. That's BS. In actual fact, the journey is a long one. It takes time, because it takes time, first of all, slowly to start dropping, the conditionings, our old belief systems, our old patterns. And it takes time also to settle into who we are. And then also, since we are living in a 3D reality, it takes time also for, there's thoughts, there's emotions, there are energies. These thoughts, emotions, energies need time also to settle. So this is why we need to be patient and we need to be persistent. So like if we try something and it doesn't work, we keep persisting. Either we try something else or we try again and again. And if we find that something still doesn't work, we can try something different. But the thing is, we have to keep going. We don't say nothing works for me, there is no chance for me. No, you keep going. And it is really worth it, because what happens is that once you remove a load, remove a chunk, you start to feel lighter and lighter and lighter. So you wouldn't have resolved it all, but you feel better. as a result. And who doesn't want to feel better, right? The interesting part of the journey is that when we release, so when I start, those of you who worked with me know this, when I start working with clients, I start to work on their trauma. So I just tell clients, listen, write down 5 to 10 events in your life which you found traumatic, you wish that they never, ever, ever happened. And they write them down in the intake form. And then we jump into it straight away. So the first session is like a coaching session. Second session, we just jump into it and we start releasing. And so if they take my 3-month package, we would do some coaching, some trauma release, then some goal setting and meditation. If it's a trauma package, releasing trauma package, I offer 3 sessions, right? And in these 3 sessions, we release these 5 to 10 events that we wished never ever happened. Now the magic is, what we do, we remember the event. So we have to go back, we have to feel the feelings, because that would have been unprocessed, because as children we did not feel safe to process certain traumatic events. And then we need to kind of bring the trauma, the stuck energy, the disturbed emotions up, because they didn't have the space to be brought up before. And in a safe space with me, we start to apply EFT tapping, which is tapping on the acupressure points. If you don't know what EFT is, I post weekly posts on EFT tapping in this group. So you're welcome to go and check it out. And also in my ebook, there is a tapping chart. Okay? And then you start to release one by one. Whereas then you come to a point where you remember the traumatic event. You still remember it. We don't want to lose our memory. But you are unaffected. You just don't feel anything around it. It's just neutral, like it happened. And this can be as bad as, like, I don't know, witnessing somebody being murdered. Like, they use this technique for war veterans to resolve their PTSD. And it works so well. Trust me. I mean, like, I worked with the worst case I have to work with was a client with a rape trauma when she was 14. It was the most challenging thing for me. I didn't know how it would work, but it was so successful that the client was suffering from panic attacks, and the panic attacks were literally gone. Boom, never to come back. If she would have, it would be one-offs and very mild, to the point that she could manage them by herself. Whereas before, she could not cope without assistance. This is how powerful, and we did this in one session, by the way. So this is how powerful this trauma release package is. So your journey starts like that. If you decide to work with me, or maybe someone else, most practitioners I know work in the same way. So first release that chunk of trauma from your childhood. And but then what happens, when we remove the trauma, you will notice that some stress, some anxiety still happens. Why? Because following these events, we would have built certain beliefs about ourselves. So for example, if your parents weren't emotionally available, we would have installed this belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love and affection. And what happens is that you end up growing up looking for this love and affection outside from other people. And this is why so many relationships are dysfunctional, because we are looking for someone out there who will make us feel whole, who will make us feel complete. And in reality, that never works, because we are giving the job to someone else, a job which we should handle ourselves, right? And that person might do it for a while, but then, for example, if that person is feeling bad and that person maybe is busy, that person cannot always give you what you need all the time. Nobody can. So then you end up expecting certain things. And when your partner, hi Katya, thank you for tuning in. It's been a while. I hope that you're well. Yeah, so we were saying, so then the moment that person cannot give you what you need, you start to turn resentful and you start to say, oh, I'm disappointed, I expected this and I'm not getting it. And that's where the problems in relationships start. And even when kind of you are giving this job to someone else, also that person tends to feel pressure to please you, to make you happy. But then at some point, they need to tend to their own needs, or they might not be able to give you themselves, as we're saying. So yes, this comes from unresolved, unmet needs during childhood. So when the first step is resolving this trauma, so we resolve the trauma, and then we see what beliefs are formed and we start to change them, and then we need to practice the new beliefs. So we need to kind of undo the old habits and install new habits, and that takes time. That takes, like, to change a belief, it takes 30 days. To change a habit, it takes 90 days. But considering that you've been stuck with this for 30, 40, 50 years, it's worth persisting for 90 days, right? So I would say go for it. Yeah, now more on when you're kind of more advanced spiritually. So yeah, I know I've been doing this work since 2014, and so I'm quite advanced. I was realizing that sometimes I thought that when doing this work, I will never get stressed again, I will never get anxious again. The thing is, that is not true. These things still happens sometimes, because there are some things which still need to resolve, and some things kind of which were resolved, but they need to be resolved at a deeper level. So that can happen, yes. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because there is a person who just joined this group, and she was asking about the dark night of the soul. And so yeah, from now on, from this point forward in this video, it's gonna get more spiritual, okay? So maybe for some of you, it might be hard to follow, but honestly, this is nothing. This is something which is very, very logical, very, very explainable, and even kind of it doesn't resonate yet. Please continue watching, I invite you, because it will later on. So yeah, this, back to the dark night of the soul, what happens is that our evolution, into more and more into our natural selves, there is a process of cycles, so there is one cycle of your life, like chapters, we call them chapters in our life, and it takes some time so in order to start a new chapter, you need to close the old chapter, and that takes some time. So we call them, also with my teacher, it calls them completions. So we need to kind of wait for the cycle to complete energetically. And then once that completion happens, a new cycle starts. Now, when this completion happens, we need to be patient, because it can be unpleasant. So we can experience anxiety, we can experience grief, because a completion involves letting go of old patterns. And grief isn't just when somebody dies, as I used to believe. Grief is losing anything. And I'm saying this because, yes, I have experienced a dark night of the soul earlier this week. Yes, a lot of things in my life are changing. Like there were some changes at work. I was seeing some changes in my son. And yes, some grief was coming up. Like also some friends are leaving. And you start to notice when the cycle is finishing, because you kind of set an intention for something new to come in your life, right? But then again, you can want something, right? And you can say, like, let's say you want the ideal relationship, you want the ideal home. And you start to say, but why isn't it happening now? Because we certain things energetically need to complete and then to make room for the new. So we need to allow this process to happen. And also there is an element of divine. Again, this is how things work. There is also an element of divine timing. So again, whatever we create, we are creating, since we are one with God, with the universe, whatever you believe in. There is also, we are co-creating. So again, believe in that you are not a victim, you are not a survivor. So once you release the trauma, you realize that you are empowered, actually, that you have the courage. So first you become neutral, but then you feel empowered. So yes, you have the capacity to create the life that you want. And you create it in line with the divine as well. So it's not something which is just good for you, but it's good for everyone. So if you are creating something good for you, you do it with the intention that it will benefit everybody. So for example, even if you have an intention to live a beautiful, abundant life, that is not selfish, because you're going to have an intention to create abundance for everybody. You know, for example, some people, they want to manifest a lot of money, big businesses and stuff like that. And when you do that, generally they set the intention also to donate then to certain charities to create abundance for their people. Or even if you want to create a business, you're going to employ people, so you're going to create abundance for them. If you want to feel better and more loving, people around you will benefit, because they will say, oh, she's such a nice person, she's bringing love and light, you know, towards us. So whatever you intend to manifest will benefit not just you, but it will benefit all humanity. So please do not hesitate to manifest. Do not hesitate to go for the life you want. And no dream. This comes from Paw Patrol, which we've been watching a lot with my son lately. And the thing is, some phrases are so true. I love to watch kids' cartoons because, you know, it reminds us of the way we are naturally are. You know, when I see the kids, like if they make a mistake, if something goes wrong, they don't beat themselves up. They don't feel unworthy. They say, oh, that happened. What shall we do? And they see what they're going to do to resolve the problem. They're never worried. They're never stressed. They never feel bad about themselves. They never beat themselves up, you know? So kids remind us on how we are meant to be. So yeah, so those of you who have kids, like, don't teach your kids, let the kids teach you. That's what I always say. I learn from my son every day. And in Paw Patrol, they say, no job is too big, no pup is too small. And that really resonates when it comes to dreaming, you know? So when it comes to dreaming, like, just say this: no dream is too big and no person is too small, right? So don't feel small, no, and dream big. That is my message to you. Okay, so yeah, back to this dark night of the soul. So that is, you know, so it is when things are shifting and upgrading, okay? Now, the first dark night of the soul you experience can be quite painful, and you kind of feel lost, you lose sight of who you truly are. But then as you can experience several of them, because with every cycle comes a dark night of the soul. You know, it's kind of the transition. But then when you start to experience them later on, you start to welcome them, right? Because you know that something good will come out of it. So when you're letting go, You're not really letting go, only you're making space for something new, right? So every time you feel grief, say, yes, it's painful. Feel the feelings, yes. Process them, breathe through them, tap, feel the feelings. But also tell yourself that I'm letting go of this, but I'm making room for something better. Okay? Now, what happened to me this week was so yes, I did some sessions, there are some energy clearings happened because I realized that I was taking actions on my business. You know, I would like to up level my coaching business, and I'm working with my coach on this. But I realized that I was too much doing, you know, because it has to be a mix of energy and action. And I realized that I was too much into taking action. So some people, they are focusing a lot on the energy and less on the actions. They would procrastinate and so on. In my case, I am the person who takes too much action and doesn't focus on the energy. And my coach was Amanda Savona. She found that it's 80% about the energy and 20% about the doing. So I needed to focus on my energy more. And yeah, by doing some energy clearings, you know, also with my teacher, Mindo Damalis, yes, I experienced a lot of energetic shifts, and to the point where so it can manifest in either getting, you know, feeling that you are smashed down, like what happened to me. On Sunday, I suddenly felt very tired. And now kind of that I know energy, I was feeling that some stuff is processing, you know. And I was smashed down. And then on Monday and Tuesday, I had a cold, but it was just a cold. And normally I keep going when a cold happens. But this was different. This was like I was smashed down. I had no strength. I just needed to lie down and do nothing. And to the point where my parents had to take over to care for my son, and I really, really thank them for this, that they are there to support me. Then by Wednesday, I was totally fine, and I realized that something had shifted in me. I suddenly felt lighter, more joyful, and I felt for the first time ever that it's just me, it's who I am. I could see for the first time my natural self, and I realized that who I thought I was, you know, I thought I was that person who needs approval. I thought I was that fearful person. I thought I was that anxious person. I thought I was that needy person. And suddenly I could see that there's a natural me. And the rest were just conditioned roles or personas, so to speak. And I said, that's not me, you know, like those are just roles I was playing. So there's me and there's the fearful, anxious. Those are just roles, they're not really me. And I realized that from this real me place, I can just decide to drop them. And dropping them one by one by one. And I found myself dropping the fearful person, the anxious person, the needy person, one by one by one by one. And it feels amazing. So every time also I was feeling anxious, I was tuning into this natural self and just dropping. It's amazing. So, and I realized how much this has shifted, because last time I went to the beach, for some reason, some old anxieties were coming up every time I go to the beach. Yeah, another thing, the fearful, the perfectionist me dropped. They're not really you. They're not really you. The real you has no issues. The real nothing. The real you is just you. You, a presence, an essence. That's basically it. And yeah, and I just realized at the beach that normally I would be very anxious. Again, it's an old thing. I was afraid that I would get into an argument with someone, that someone would get mad at me, that I would make a mistake and people would make fun of me. Like those who know me, I was suffering from 93% social anxiety in 2014. To the point where I could not sit in a restaurant without thinking that everybody's criticizing me or saying bad things about me. Now, thank God that is gone. But I still had some anxiety when I went to the beach. And today, and then another thing about energy, then you start to, once you are that fearful person, then you start to realize that you start to attract situations. For example, also I was fearful and needing approval last time I went to the beach. And you start to attract certain situations that match your vibration, okay? So I realized that I was attracting people who were not friendly, who were avoiding me, who were ignoring me, or being critical, you know. And today, since that anxiety, I dropped it, I had a wonderful afternoon with Fred. Like, we were there from, this is why I'm doing this live at this time, but it's meant to be this way. And I don't mind doing lives at night because the energy is different and it can be more intimate, you know. And so I hope that you're feeling it too. And the fact that Katya is still watching means that she's finding it valuable. Yeah, and really by having the right energy, like I am whole. Thank you for the much love, my dear, much love. Yeah, and the fact that I just dropped that anxious, needy person, I attracted, you know, all the people on the beach just came to us. They came to us. You know, there was a Serbian couple with a boy. The boy was playing with Fred. Fred was so happy. And we stayed chatting and then they offered me coffee. They were offering Fred snacks. And then there was an Irish family celebrating a birthday and we made friends with their kids too. And believe me, we were there from 4 and we stayed there till 9. And we didn't even see the time flying by. And I felt so good and so happy and so thankful. After years and years and years of anxiety, like it's just gone. It's just gone. So yes, you can decide to drop everything. Everything. That's just roles. And if you're not able to do it now, don't give up. You know, you can still persist. Maybe something is not ready to be cleared yet. It's divine timing. So if maybe you're trying too hard and not able to release something, just accept it the way it is. And also, you know, feel it, yeah? Sit with it, take deep breaths, take a step back and sit with it, acknowledge that it's there, accept it, you know. And also, you know, applying EFT tapping while you do it or any other energy release technique is very helpful. So yeah, observe it, you know, and recognize that it's not you. And, you know, sit with it. And it will slowly when the time is, so do not resist it either. So just acknowledge that it's there and sit with it. And then, yes, eventually you will be able to drop that role, that conditioned person who you thought you were. And if you feel stuck, just tune into your higher self. You know, you can just sit into a meditation and just visualize, you know, through your crown, you know, your higher self, and ask for advice. Or you can maybe just pray to God, you know, or to whatever you believe in. Like, just acknowledge that you're feeling stuck. You say, yes, I feel stuck right now. And I pray for a solution to this challenge. And you just surrender. You just surrender. And normally when that happens, magic happens after that. The solutions just come. They just come. And yes, this has worked over and over for me and for so many other people in the world. And it's so freeing, yeah. So freeing. Yeah, well, I have something to show you here, like another way kind of to clear your energy. So it's important also to keep your energy clean. And for that, one thing you can do, like I have an incense stick. Again, this is not kind of, I used to believe that this is something like too weird and out there. I'm saying, what the heck is this? And I wish it was explained to me, so I'm going to explain it to you. So basically, the incense, it cleanses your energy field. Because, again, energy is real. We feel it, we pick it up from other people, and everybody knows this. So by using some incense, like let's say if also you are in a situation and you felt very anxious, before you go to sleep, I highly recommend that you do this. So just take this incense, and all you need to do, you just pass it around your energy field on the sides like this, and then through the chakras like that, going all the way up, and the back as well. Just careful not to burn your back, because many times I burned the clothes because I was trying to use incense. And you do this 3 times, and you actually feel a clearing happening here. Again, you do this 2 more times. Just feel it. The back, and 1 more time, the sides. Yeah. So that's something, another thing. And also, like, for me, what works, maybe you can try whatever works for you. Shaking works really well. Like, I like to shake and just shake the sides, shake the front of my body, shake the back, to also cut cords, because also we can subconsciously cut cords with certain people who may be vibrating lower energetically, and they can drag us down. So like this, it's kind of, we're cutting the cords. We're cutting the cords to whoever we might have connected to during the day. And before I go to sleep, so now I will conclude soon. I don't want to make this too long. I used to struggle with sleep a lot, and with this technique, I sleep peacefully every single night now. With some exceptions, sometimes when some energetic processing is happening, I could wake up during the night. But generally I sleep really well. So what I do, I just sit in bed. So it's important, like, I know this is obvious, but I've had many clients telling me, oh, I can't sleep. And the first thing I ask them is, do you take your mobile phone in the bedroom with you? And they say yes. So the first thing I tell them is, take your mobile phone out of the bedroom. And the moment they do that, they resolve their sleeping issue. So it can be as simple as that. And for me, what works, when I close the door, I sleep better. Now, again, you can try different things. I don't know if this can work for you. The explanation, I think, is that, first of all, I feel safer for some reason. And second of all, I read as well that the Wi-Fi vibrations disturb sleep. So by closing the door, you're kind of also blocking out the Wi-Fi emissions. And also that's another reason why you should not keep your phone or any technology in the bedroom. And then I sit in bed and I do 3 rounds of tapping. So we can do them together. So for Katya, you're welcome to do it with me. So what I do is simply this. I just sit in bed and tap without doing or saying anything. So just do it with me, since it's time to go to bed. And you notice that you start to yawn. Underarm. So this is 1 round, guys. Eyebrow point, 2nd round. Yawning isn't happening for me because really the beach gave me a lot of energy. It's coming. It's coming. So you notice a lot of yawning happening. So this will also help you to fall asleep. Last round. Nice yawning happening, guys. I hope it's the same for you. So whoever is watching the recording, it's recommended to watch this at night. Whew. And just deep breaths, shake it off. Shake it off, shake it off. Just sit quietly in bed, a bit like this, sit quietly a bit. Until you notice yourself slowly drifting off to sleep. Also, one last thing you can do as an energetic shift is take a shower. Taking a shower also helps to clear your energy. Remember also when working with energy to stay hydrated, drink plenty of water, especially in summer. And because water helps the energy to move, since it's a conductor. And also, you know, anyway, we need to stay hydrated to be nice and healthy. So since now we're all nice and mellow, yeah, this was a good one. I'm off to sleep. Just a reminder about the in-person event. So I'm gonna be on the 15th of June. I'm going to be at Salina Park at 5 p.m. We meet at the cafeteria and then we go to the trees and we do a nice meditation together. So there are still some spots available for those who would like to join. Just send me a message and I'll be happy to book a place for you. And yeah, I hope you found this helpful. Ooh, I know I did. And have a great weekend. Much love and light to all of you. And I look forward to speaking with you next week again. Have a beautiful, peaceful, restful night.